Hello and welcome everyone. This is Mike. I'm the founder and CEO of SuiteDash. Thank you for joining us today on this special webinar. Let's get all of you guys to introduce yourselves. I'd like to know where you're joining us from. I see so many familiar names. It's great to see you guys. Yep, some I haven't seen in a while. I think this particular subject matter has everybody's imagination in the world. All right, I see from France, from South Africa, from Virginia, from Atlanta, Boiling Springs, North Carolina. Hey, all right. I know that. Greensboro, Charlotte. Thank you. Miami, Bristol, UK, India, Austin, Texas, Kansas City, Chicago, south of England, Missouri, Portugal. Hey, Marie. Tampa, Netherlands, Belize, beautiful Germany, Mexico City. Awesome. Johannesburg, Joburg. All right. Awesome. Great to see you guys. Hey, let's just go ahead and get started. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. This session is being recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. You are encouraged, of course, to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you will be notified immediately. We may be able to just send it out by email, but much better for you guys to be up to date at the YouTube channel. All right, so the subject, SuiteAi. I'm really excited about this one. This is something that has been in planning, in thought process for a very long time, and we'll go through that. Some of you guys may have heard of this thing, AI, that makes life simple, right? Everything's easy. That's certainly true in some cases, but I think we are at an inflection point with AI that makes it clear how we can facilitate AI and use it in a real world atmosphere. So that's why we're here. We're going to talk about the strategy and the future roadmap of AI as it relates to business tools in general, I think, but specifically to SuiteDash. So why don't we get started? Let's start off by switching to dark mode because it'll make that big white screen a lot nicer for everyone. Okay, so let's move on to the first idea here. So all of you guys, when AI first kind of made it out on the scene with the release of ChatGPT, we're all kind of taken a little bit by surprise, like, wow, this is amazing, right? A lot of apps immediately jumped into this in this race to slap that AI badge on their platforms. And I would like to take all the credit that we were so intelligent that we knew what was happening. We just sat back and watched. So we're going to call that strategic assessment. But I think most of you guys that are business owners will will recognize this as, well, we weren't quite sure what to do, to be honest. And so we just watched. Looks like somebody's drawing on my screen. I don't think that's me, but we can get by that. So we watched, we experimented, we kept an eye on things and used it and tried to use it even in the application a couple times in a couple places. But what we found was that unstable is probably a harsh word, but were things like hallucinations, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, at the early stages to put hard walls around data that's important. This is a business atmosphere. This is not a playground where if things get leaked, it's not a good idea, right? You can't have your clients, for example, seeing business best practices, or you just don't want them to see that, or God forbid, other client information, all this kind of things. So in the early days, it really wasn't ready for that. So as we watched, we saw the market mature and stabilize. The pricing also was an issue. As you know, we do our very best to keep things affordable for you guys, and just the hourly and token usage of AI it was too far for us to bring into our platform according to our business model. But luckily now it has become very clear over the past few months, especially as new models are released, new LLMs are out, the competition is really heating up and the technology is becoming more mature. The pricing has dropped. The data leakage problem has solutions. The hallucination problems have solutions. And now we're in a place where I think we can confidently move and start to look at what does it look like to have AI inside something like SuiteDash. So as we do this, and as everything that we do, let me see if I can, no. Do you guys see that red circle on the screen? See if I can get rid of that. I do not know how. Okay, all right, good, yeah. Technologia. Yeah, we fixed it. All right. Okay, so as we start thinking about that, we always want to think from first principles and not say, hey, let's just put AI in and put AI on the website and we'll try to sell. That's, I think, disingenuous. It's not important until it's important, until it's really helpful. Yeah, AI could have done that for me, David. I just need to ask. I got to get the prompt right. That's the problem. I didn't know the prompt. Yeah. So we started thinking, how can AI truly help a business owner, a small, medium business organization owner, CEO, founder, entrepreneur, side hustler? So we focused and said, okay, what can we do to deliver value that does not require the user to become one of these AI? Apparently, people spend all day sitting around using AI tools, and then a week later they start using new AI tools, and they tell those of us who still use the one from last week that we're complete losers because we're not using the one they're using this week. How many of you guys have felt that way, right? About AI? Like as soon as you think that you are understanding what's happening, then a week later, somebody on Twitter or X says, if you're using that tool, you're completely behind, right? You have no idea and you're going out of business, right? So these are a little bit hyperbolic in the way that they're delivered, but the truth is that AI can be very, very helpful, and but it's just about trying to find the right use case. So we decided to let's make sure that we're anything that we imagine and begin building is something that's really going to simplify and speed up these critical workflows that already exist, right? You guys are already using existing tools in the platform to accomplish your workflows. So adding some new tool that required you to change these things up or modify them somehow is not really helpful to you. We want to make sure that we can come right to where you are and bring AI to that. So immediate impact and not just potential, something that you can really use. So thinking through that from first principles, really, we want to answer the question first, and what really is SuiteDash, right? And what do we have here, and how can AI benefit it? SuiteDash is a full suite of business software tools, as you know, sitting on top. So it's a suite of business software tools designed to be interoperable, right? With automations that reach across toolkits that can trigger other toolkits. You have set everything up where emails go out, white label from your brand. So you're touching your clients, you're touching your staff, you're communicating all through this set of toolkits, all sitting on top of a single database, which is a single source of truth. Very important, right? If you have multiple software platforms, that means you have multiple databases that you need to somehow sync or move data from one to the other, or make sure that they're all up to date. Which one is right? I don't know. So you can get a lot of trouble that way. And we call this structure, this set of toolkits, this suite of tools on top of data, the operating system of your organization, because you can run your entire business on this, right? It's the central hub of both data and action. So the platform already sends emails on your behalf. It has a full spectrum of what we call generators, which are just pre-configured assets like appointments, contracts, proposals, estimates, invoice. And these tools are exactly the tools that you're currently using to interact with your clients and staff. Now, if you think about adding AI to something right into your business and helping you, AI is good at following instructions. AI is good at assessing situations or assessing data, and AI is good at outputting in a structured way, depending on the way you design your prompts, right? So what does it look like to get max benefit and value from the capabilities of AI? Well, AI is just like, it's like a brain, but it has no ability to take action. So in comes this term that many of you have heard, which is called agents. How many of you guys have heard about these agents? Some of us are very familiar, but some are just starting to learn about agents. Well, agent is just a software tool that is connected to AI that allows the AI to take action, allows it to, say, send an email or change a database or add a note somewhere or a CRM or execute some action. They can be anything, right? It could do just about anything. It's just a term for that action side of it. So then it would follow that if AI becomes powerful when it can take action, when it can execute some action, it would follow that maybe the most perfect scenario of combining AI into your organization would be to integrate it with a full suite, dare I say, of tools that already is set up to do the actions of your organization, to execute the actions of your organization. It's already sitting on a single database, a single source of truth, and that data is always correct. It's never stale. It's never unsynced. It's never the wrong version. So wouldn't that be the perfect situation? Add AI to an entire set of toolkits or agents, we could call them. And that's the action side. AI is the AI side. And you combine them together and you get something that is what I would think is pretty close to a perfect scenario. Maximum usage inside your organization with optimal benefit. You integrate AI into a suite of business tools that's already connected to your data, already sending emails, already sending SMSs, already connected to your client and staff. And it has the capability to auto trigger then, because of generators, because of everything that we have already that's designed for automation. AI is just another link in that chain that can take the work that you do, decisions maybe, and make them for you in a way that is intelligent, that follows your prompts, your directions. And instead of you driving the software or making those human decisions, what we call human interaction points, maybe there's room for AI to do that, make those decisions, or help you make those decisions. So when you put that suite and the suite of toolkits and AI together, then of course you get SuiteAi, right? So it makes perfect sense. This platform that you are familiar with is the perfect target, right? It's the perfect agentic AI platform is the terminology in the business. So all the business tools are already built in, right? AI can do it can do some amazing things, but it can't take action without the tools. And the actions what matters. How many times have you guys been in, say, ChatGPT or Gemini, and you're generating content, you're getting some really good results, but then you have to take it from there. Then you have to take it from there, though, and you have to move it to where you need it to be, which involves sometimes a lot of copying, pasting, a lot of sort of reformatting. There's roadblocks in between moving your workflow from that place to the next place or to store it. I mean, I know they keep it in threads, but it becomes a mess really quickly. What we need is something that is integrated into our everyday work platform and can take action on our behalf as well. SuiteDash is set up for that already. So you have the one unified database, and then decisions by the AI maybe, or assisted decisions plus actions equal real results, as we see here. Make sense? Do you guys see the sort of natural synergy between what is built already in SuiteDash and what is being improved and refined, which is an automation platform at its very core, designed for automation, right? If you guys have been around for a little bit, you understand we don't have templates. Templates are kind of an old concept. Our unique concept was generators, and that's what allows us to pre-configure, pre-define, pre-build, pre-create entire workflows around typically circles and generators, and then we can control an entire workflow without knowing who the next target will be, but we know that the next target will get a very reliable and consistent experience because we pre-built it using those tools. Now, AI can just make it better. Okay. All right, so let's go through the tools that we have envisioned. Some of them will be in the platform as early as next week. Some of them will take longer. Some of them will take maybe many, many months from now. So you'll see before we're done that we have some of the tools that you may expect and some tools that are forward thinking with maybe the end result in mind and how we can take the path from here to there in a way that makes sense. All right, let's start with an easy one, right? AI brand voice. This is a pretty obvious one, but I also think very helpful. So this is a way that on your organization level, at the highest level, you'll be able to define your brand voice. You know, we are a brand that tries to have a little fun in everything that we do. We try to be serious, but we also try to make sure that you understand, hey, we are very much like you. We're thinking like you. We understand your challenges. So you can define that at the organizational level. And then all the generations that happen by the AI after that, no matter where it is and what toolkit it is, will take this into consideration and will be thinking about this brand voice content that you develop and build it in, roll it into the answers in ways that you guys are probably very familiar with, right? I'm sure you've all experienced this idea of working through AI, and it starts to understand you, starts to remember that you did this and you did that. It starts to have a little bit of get to know you feel, and that becomes very useful in the end. So this reflects your tone. It might also reflect some very strict rules that you have about maybe capitalization. Of course, with SuiteDash, we always want to capitalize the S and the D. That's very important. I have a lot of problems with that when I see it the other way. Of course, that's my job as the brand defender. So you can be similar ways. So this is a place where you can use all of those things that you need your brand to be consistent about, as far as tone, as far as presenting your brand, that unified voice. You can do it here. You can just build this in and everything will be taken into account. So that's a pretty simple one, and you'll see that one relatively quickly over the next few weeks. AI content gen. Now, this one also relatively simple. This is just anywhere in the toolkit when you are, say, developing a contract in Document Generator or in proposals. You'll be able to just generate that proposal or images for that proposal directly there in the toolkit by using prompts. And it'll just put it directly in with the styling, everything. So no more of this sort of copying, pasting, and then restyling. So the styling, if you say, I need headers, I need subheaders, and you put everything out, it'll all be in the prompt. A lot of it, obviously, as normal, but it'll be delivered directly into the WYSIWYG, and that brand voice will be integrated. You'll also be able to reference what we call silos, which we'll get to in just a bit. So you'll be able to say, hey, this is what I want to generate. Make sure you're thinking about this. Make sure you're thinking about all the data that's contained in this silo A and silo B, but not silo C. You'll be able to very much direct this content as it's being generated so that you get a proper result right away. I'm sure you all have had the experience of trying to get content, but then it comes out not quite right the first time, and you have to keep working on it until you see that it really understands what you're asking for. Or maybe you didn't get the prompt completed at first, but after a few tries, it starts to work. So content gen, yes, very important. This takes a lot of the responsibility off of you as far as thinking of it right out of your own brain or generating it somewhere else and then bringing it in and then having to reformat or something like that. In a similar way, what we call AI rewrite. So this would be most useful in situations where you have formatted text already done. Say you have a portal page or an email campaign, these would be good examples, where you have some very refined styling already done. You have the thing looking great. You have headers, you have some images, everything is just like you want it, space just like you want it. All that's really kind of in the HTML, but you don't have access to that when you're generating new content. So a lot of times, for example, without this tool, you may have to grab the HTML out of that template, take it somewhere else to an AI, ask it to rewrite, but don't change the HTML. You won't have to do that with AI rewrite. You'll just say, hey, here's a campaign. It went out last time. I like the way it looks. What I want to do is an AI rewrite, which is just a duplicating of that campaign. And then you determine in the prompt, I want to change it so that it presents this information. And then the AI will dance around that styling in the back end, say, for example, the HTML. It won't play with that. It won't mess any of that up. It'll just generate and insert the new content directly inside that formatting that you already have up and running. So this is a way you can get very consistent variations of something that you like, that you send out. Most businesses, you're sending something out. Hey, this looks good. Let's just send another email out. We'll just use that to be the guide for the next one we send out, and we'll just use it consistently. And now with AI rewrite, you just give it a prompt for the new information. You get a almost completely usable right out of the gate. Maybe you're going to make some changes, obviously, but right away, you're ready to send that email. Same with proposals if you need to change something. Same with these other things. So AI rewrite is something that you'll be able to reference. Yes, Leisha. Yes, Leisha. We're getting there now. But so in all these cases, you'll be able to reference. Well, let's go ahead and just go to the next one. You'll reference the knowledge that you're keeping in what we're calling knowledge bases. Okay. So knowledge bases are your data. Okay. So just always think about it as your data. And you're feeding your personal GPT, as you said, you're feeding this AI the information that matters to you that's directly from your org. So good examples would be, there would be both private and public knowledge bases. So let's work on the public side first. A good example would be like a knowledge base for a product or service that you provide. So the same kind of knowledge base that you would usually see paired with support ticket system. And in this case, you'll see this does have a connection later down the road. Yes, exactly. Knowledge base for support, Jeremy. So this will have a publicly accessible page where this knowledge base is indexed, it's organized, it's categorized, it can be searched. Very similar to what we have at help.suitedash.com is a great example. You can go there and look at articles. You can search all those articles. You can click from one to the other. So it's very, very useful in that way. And for the private side, this would be knowledge bases typically about your internal processes, your systems, your policies, your best practices. All these things can be organized in knowledge bases on your side. And these knowledge bases will all have what we call knowledge silos. Okay. So a silo will be associated with one or more knowledge bases. And the silo is the choke point for the knowledge, okay, from the standpoint of having the ability to query it with AI. So each silo contains focused AI training, which is by assigned knowledge bases, one or more. The important part here is that the knowledge never leaks between the silos. So you can be very confident in the fact that you are assigning knowledge silo to, say, a teammate that needs access to just that information, but maybe there's another silo over here that you only want admins to have access to, and it has more sensitive information connected to it. We don't need any of that information crossing over. We don't need any of your company information getting into a silo that is intended for clients. So silos are a good way to, yes, silo this information and fence it off and be able to access only the information in the silo or silos that's connected to one or more knowledge bases. Okay. So the access to the permissioning is done at the silo level. So on the silo level, you'll have users that are assigned to that silo. If they are, then they have permission to query that silo using the silo specialist, which we'll talk about now. So silo specialist is essentially, it's a chatbot that is connected to one or more silos. It's assigned to one or more silos, and you can ask it questions from the knowledge that's contained in those silos, and it will be able to answer it using AI, give you the perfect answer from that data, but no other data. When I say no other data, general knowledge data, obviously, how tall is the Eiffel Tower, that's a different thing. But in the sense of being able to access that data that's inside a knowledge base that you want to keep private or keep separated, siloed away from other data, this is the way that you'll do it. So you'll have this silo specialist who cannot see into other knowledge bases that it's not assigned to, and the permission control is there at the silo level, and you'll have these instant accurate answers from your silo specialists, which can be embedded on websites, on landing pages, anywhere that you need it to be. So in the example of your clients, you can create an entire knowledge base about your company, about your products, anything you want. You could have 4 or 5 silos that you say, okay, for this silo specialist, it's going to be on my website. I want to assign these 4 or 5 silos, and the clients who are on the website or the visitors of websites will be able to query that information, get good answers. I can query it. If you see an answer that's incorrect, you're going to go right to that knowledge base and start to add more information to make sure that the silo specialist is getting things right, because I think in a lot of cases it's us. We are the ones that are guilty of not putting the work in on the prompt side, right? And of course, the AI only knows what you tell it. So it does take some tuning. You can't always anticipate what your clients are going to ask. So after a while, you'll start to understand, okay, let me make sure I add that. And that's part of the layering of a good system or process. It takes time to get things really, really tuned up. These silo specialists will be available again, can be available in the portal for your staff. They can be embedded. There'll be a silo specialist block for dashboards, for example. So if you have a client coming into a dashboard, you can put a chat right there on the dashboard so that they can access it immediately. So it'll be very, very useful. Someone's asking about, can 2 or more silo specialists talk, like SS1 train to query SS2? Well, not sure about that one. It's possible. It's possible. I do think that's one of the best ways to, I think what you're talking about is, I've done this myself, is in a prompt to ChatGPT or whatever, you ask it to take on 2 different personalities. One is kind of like a red team, right? One is where you say, okay, I want you to go and do all the research. And then I want you, the second personality, to ask questions and try to poke holes in everything the first person says and make sure that they know what they're talking about. They've covered all the scenarios. And I think you can even see that if you use some of the deep thinking modes that are very popular now. You see some of that red teaming happening there as well. So very interesting. Emmanuel, he says, will the silo specialist be available more globally and not just on specific portal pages? Yes, you could embed it on any website, or you can have it in the portal just generally, or on a landing page, or wherever you, just about anywhere. We'll make ways to put that everywhere. So don't worry about it not being accessible. It'll be accessible to who you need it to be accessible to. And in fact, you might want to have the knowledge base, like say on the internal side. I think a lot of people will want to have the knowledge base be accessible, but more hidden. They would rather their staff kind of just query it. And so would the staff, right? The staff would rather just ask you questions instead of dig through. And that's why these things are so powerful. That's why they're so popular, because it gives me my answers without me having to digest 40 pages of information. I can get the answers as I need them and as they're important to me. Yep. Okay, the next concept is AI workspaces. So this concept is similar to silos, but it doesn't have a knowledge base connected on the back. The idea behind this is that many of you have probably had this same experience where you're trying to get some structured output. So for example, you're making a PR release, or you're sending an email, or you're trying to replicate a flyer that you made before, or whatever the case is. You're trying to get, say, 5 bullet points. I want them to be 105 words each. You're very specific about how you want the structure to be. This is just an example. But you go to that chat and you start, for lack of a better term, fighting with the AI. You start with the initial, then it comes back and gives you some results. No, I need this, that, I need to continue. It takes you, say, 20, 30 minutes of back and forth until the AI result, the output, matches what you're actually after. What you don't want is to have that fight over and over again. So what workspaces do, and this is more like what someone referred to earlier, projects, I think they call it ChatGPT, and they call it something else in conversations. But the idea is that these are context-aware conversations that you can return to at any time to get a consistent, repeatable output without having to rebuild all of that context for the AI. Yes, Stacy, exactly. The memory. So a lot of it is about context. So you'll come back to, you'll save this workspace. You say, okay, this is the workspace I go to when I need to get a press release that follows all of our company best practices. I'm going to go there. I'm going to give it 6 bullet points. It knows what to do after that because it's done it 6 times before. I don't have to go back and rebuild. I don't have to do anything. I just drop in here to this workspace, put the bullet points in. I get the perfect output. And 1 month from now, I'm going to do the same thing, or my teammate can do the same thing. So this is really important in the sense of, over time, your organization will build these workspaces, do the work to get them refined, to get them where they're consistently outputting exactly what you need. And then you can return anytime and give it the same input. You have now sort of a standardized input, which is maybe 6 bullet points, like I said, or a couple paragraphs describing. It understands that's the input. Now it understands the output because it's been trained already. So it's a pre-trained workspace that's ready to go for your particular use case. And I know for sure this can save a lot of time. I can tell you that from experience. So this will be very nice. And not just the fact that you can do this, but you can control access by all the familiar ways that you guys know about: individual, circle, team, or coming soon world. Okay, next concept, AI data processing. This one's quite interesting. So we'll have a new type of custom field called an AI custom field. The idea of it is, in addition to being custom field as we know now, you'll also have the ability to create a prompt. And the prompt will be looking at some input, which will typically be some form submission data, another custom field. So if you have forms where your client is onboarding and providing you that data, sometimes that data might be like a paragraph written out, where you need a human to read that and understand what they are actually asking for, or what they are trying to accomplish, or depending on your business. What you can do is have the prompt connected to that input now, and then instructions in the prompt will have it populate the value of the AI custom field, which you can then use anywhere that you can use data placeholders. So one example might be that you could say on a kickoff form, you could ask for, what is exactly you're trying to accomplish in our relationship, this business relationship. And then in the prompt, you might say, okay, take what they told you and sort of reword it, assure them that we really do understand what they're talking about. We can definitely take care of that. And then create a small paragraph, insert it into the custom field, this AI process data, we'll call that. And then in an automated email to them, you might include that data placeholder in an email that's otherwise maybe a little bit canned, but there's that one paragraph or that one part of it that's completely contextual to them, that mirrors what they said, but now it's rewritten, it's using your brand voice, it's following the ideas of the prompt, and now they receive an email that has much more of the appearance that someone took the time to read it and wrote back to them. So see, there's another way that you can use AI to adjust your workflows and be more authentic in the way that you're automating. All right, let's move on. Well, all those things I just said right here. Yes. Okay. Now, AI support replies. I think a lot of you probably expected this one in early on in the AI game. This is what not just me, but basically everyone saw as the really killer app for AI. And I still think that. So when you have support tickets, you have people writing into support tickets, asking questions. Of course, the support ticket system will have access to a silo that's trained on specific knowledge bases, and then you will see a draft ready to go based on your settings and configuration. Use only the knowledge that you approve. So support tickets will have the ability to say, is this for product A or product B? It'll look at product A. Okay, what silo do I have access to? Now I'm going to run this question by that silo. I'm going to get an answer. I'm going to put it in draft in the ticket and wait. That's one way it can work. But we also envision this other concept called wingman mode, which we'll get to in just a bit, that allows you to sort of step in between just no automation whatsoever and full automation, because that's really where you'll start to stall, where you'll say, well, I'm not ready for this thing to start sending emails to my clients without me understanding what's happening. I'll probably never turn that on. And so therefore you do get some benefit from AI, but maybe not the full benefit that you could over time with the proper training and adjustments. So that's where wingman mode comes in. We'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so this is pretty obvious though. AI support replies, these can be very, very helpful and allow you to save a lot of time. Yes, a lot of time for the people who are answering these questions, and B, you'll be able to use employees, staff that are less capable in the beginning because they will be having some assistance here from the AI. So there's a lot of ways that this can make you more efficient and save some money. All right, this one is the AI logic engine. So the AI logic engine is about assessment, right? So AI is very good at looking at something and assessing, reading. In fact, not just data that's added via a form. It can look at images. It can look at documents. It can look at PDFs. It can look at things that are uploaded. So many of you, I think, have the requirements of uploading PDFs, right? And uploading maybe driver's licenses or some kind of identification. And AI can look at those things and say, yes, I found the expiration date. It is valid. Yes, I read through the PDF. It seems to contain the things that you told me to look for. So if you have a custom prompt and the evaluation workflow, then AI can look at this data, at these documents, at these IDs, and look for these indicators that it will decide, does this fit my instructions? And what we'll build into it is a confidence percentage, right? This is kind of a unique concept that will allow you to control how much automation is happening. How much confidence do you have? Is this an 80% confidence you think that the questions that I'm asking you in the prompt are satisfied by the source document or the source ID? If so, then you may continue, or if not, you need to await approval. So you'll be able to configure the logic engine to auto trigger these workflows or request human confirmation first. So much like the logic engine that we have now, AI will be another option there that you'll be able to look at, upload custom fields or custom fields of any type that your targets are submitting. You kick off forms or update forms, and then evaluate those based on your prompt and your confidence percentage that you have set. And that brings us to the wingman mode. So this AI logic engine might freak some of you out a little bit by saying, well, I definitely don't need AI making decisions and shooting off emails and doing those things. But wingman mode is kind of the answer there, because if you put it in wingman mode, you have a certain decision process that you're trying to facilitate. You can say, okay, wingman mode is on. And what that will do is it will send you an email. It will send whoever an email that you decide, and we're just going to say you, but whoever on your staff, it needs to see it. It will present the case. It will say, of course, AI is fully capable of this. It will have 2 or 3 paragraphs and say, here's what I was given, or maybe even attached, here's the document, here's the image, here's what I was given, here's what I looked for, here's what I found. This was my decision. Do you want to continue? And in that email, it'll have 2 buttons that you can click directly from the email. And one is, heck yeah, go do it. It looks good. And the other one is, no, don't do that. And actually, you'll be able to associate other automations with that no side. But the yes side will be, hey, it looks really good. Let's go ahead and go. And what this does, this gives you a tool with which you can manage a transition to full autonomy. So very likely in the beginning, you'll use wingman mode to find where the AI is making a bad decision or an unwanted decision. And you can say, no, not quite, not quite. So you're going to say no, you're going to click no, you're going to go take care of that process or whatever it is. And then you're going to go to the prompt and you're going to try to fix that. You're going to say, in this case, make sure you're thinking about this and that. Don't forget about this. And you'll work on the prompt. The next time that same scenario comes through, maybe it makes a better decision. It's closer. But over time and over these calibrations, you are getting closer and closer to a place where you can say, you know what? I feel good. I've seen 10 emails come in. I've clicked yes on all of them. I feel like I can set this thing free now. And now you have an automated decision process. It's not that unusual to think, or not that crazy to think, that if there's 10 variables that you're looking at with your eyeballs and your brain, it's not that crazy to think that you could train an AI to look at all those same variables, add them up to whatever the decision needs to be, and say, it's decision A or B or whatever it is. So this is the path to get from where we are now to a place where you may be able to achieve an autonomy in some of the decisions. No one thinks that all of them, well, not yet, but this is the path to get there from where we are now to an autonomous result. All right, let's talk about the Portal Assistant. So Portal Assistant is designed to help your targets and your staff accomplish what they need to accomplish using a friendly AI interface. So basically, the best way to think about it is that if you are trying to, from the staff side or admin side, you want to create a marketing audience or any kind of marketing campaign, you could just start talking to the Portal Assistant and say, hey, I'd like to create a marketing campaign. Great. Portal Assistant knows how to do that. All it's doing really in the background is just looking at the form for creating a campaign, and it knows what the validations are. It knows the data that we need, and it says, okay, what would you like to call this campaign? And you type it back or voice it back, and it says, when would you like the based on date to be? Here's what it means, right? Here's what based on date means. It'll explain it to you. If you do it this way, and then you have all that explanation right there, and then you say, I want the based on date to be today. This is exactly what it is, right? And so same thing with a kickoff form. If you have someone on your website and you have the Portal Assistant sort of set up on the website like a chat, you may tell that Portal Assistant, I want you to, your goal is to collect the information that's contained that we're seeking in kickoff form alpha, whatever you want it to be. That you say that's your standard kickoff form from website. You're trying to get, say, 4 or 5 pieces of information. You have a whole set of automations and assignments connected to that kickoff form. This is exactly the process you have now. If you embedded the form on the website, they would fill it out. Everything would happen. But if they're chatting with the assistant and say, hey, if you'd like some more information, how about your first name? Okay, can I get your email address? Can I, what business are you in? It's asking the exact questions that the kickoff form has. It's just doing it in a more conversational way. When it achieves what it needs, which is I can pass all the validations, I have all the answers, that's it. It'll just submit it. And all it does on our side is calls the proper function, passes the proper data. And now there's a third way that kickoff forms can be submitted. First, the client can submit it. Second, we have staff submit, which is really awesome for things like receptionists, etc. And the third way now would be via the Portal Assistant, who basically just asks the right questions, inserts, and submits. And now you have someone in your funnel. They've had a nice conversation with an AI. So these things this is just kind of the beginning. Now, this is something that I'm going to say this is a little bit further down the road. There are some of these things that are a little bit further down the road, as you can imagine, but it's not that difficult because as we explained in the beginning and set the stage, the tools are already there, right? So this is not us. Please understand that this is not me telling you all this stuff would be really cool once we build all the tools and put the AI. We have all the tools. We have all the tools. And the AI is really just a small layer built into it in a way that you guys can understand. We need to make sure everything is very understandable. Everything is easy to use. Everything is clear. Now, the prompts have to come from you. The business use cases have to come from you. So some of these things, they're not going to fall over for you because AI can't read your mind. It can't pull out things out of your mind. That's for sure. But it can ask you proper questions and get you in a place where you'll be one step closer. Yes, Esteban. Yes. Esteban says the AI system will be able to make searches for contacts and companies. Yes. So right now, one of the things that we'll be concentrating on, you guys know that if you use the quick find where you can just touch the letter F and bring up a search for companies, contacts, staff, projects, all that. We'll also be implementing something that's essentially like a command line in that I say command line, but it's really just a quick way to ask a question. And you can say, what's the email address for Albert Brown again? I'm sorry. Or what is his wife's name or whatever. So instead of you going click, going to that place and digging up that information, as long as there's enough information for the AI to understand, that AI can give you that information and surface that really quickly. That's one of the things we're definitely looking to do. Okay, make sure I covered everything here. Yes, I think that's pretty well explained. Okay. Now, so this is the last one that we'll talk about, and also the one that's the furthest away, and also the one that I think is essentially the end game as it comes to AI. So we have a full database of all of your clients, all of your staff, everything we know, all the invoices that have been paid, how much they were, we have all the data, we deliver it to you, we surface it to you based on programming, which means we go and get that data and bring it to you in a certain structured way, in a visual way. But in the end, if you put a layer of AI over top of a database, software becomes less and less necessary, because if you have a database that the AI understands the mapping of, meaning it understands this column does this column is that, this column does the other thing, does it really need software to go and structure that and deliver that? Or can it just start doing the math and do whatever it needs, capture the data, and bring you back the answer? Well, the answer is yes, if you have it set up correctly. But what our plan is to leverage this in a way that gives you another way to ask questions about your data. So we'll be caching data snapshots from your account, from every account, in a place that's secure and siloed, but the AI will then be able to read it and train on it every, say, 3-4 hours. The AI says, okay, now I've just retrained. I know everything about the current state of this company, including all the sales, how many leads were added last month, how many prospects converted to clients in the 4 days before the holiday of this or that, right? So it understands and it has all of your company level data, and it can read that and understand trends. And we'll be working on this later in this year and into probably next year as well. So a lot of the development side will be on us to help the AI understand where the data is and what the data is and what patterns to look for to help you understand your business. But in addition, you'll be able to ask creative questions, like, how much sales did I get from organizations based in Nebraska last year? You could probably find that out because it has all the data. It's just going to go look and try to do the math real quick and see what's going on. So this is, in the end, I think, something that we really are focused on as kind of the final end game, to bring an analyst to you to help with business intelligence, to help fill in any, if there's reporting that you don't have access to, or you just need a quick answer to some question. This is a way that AI can have access to your data without being in the database, which of course we don't want. We just want to have that structured data that it can quickly learn on and give answers on in a cached way, so that we're not constantly making queries on the database. So this will work, yes. Okay, so let's talk about next AI pricing for resellers. So many of you out there, I think, our resellers are interested in reselling, especially with the upcoming release of Reseller Pro, which we'll talk about next. Now, of course, AI has a cost, as I'm sure all of you know. We're doing what we normally do, and our goal is to pass AI costs directly to you as low as we can sustainably do it. So we're not trying to profit on these AI credits. We're trying to pass them to you as cheap as they could possibly get. So as you know, you can use AI for free, but when you start to use it in a way that's really powerful, that you need to get real results and do real work, it's going to cost. It's going to cost you a monthly fee, or it's going to cost you some amount. Now, we are planning free tiers, so there will be some reasonable amount of monthly usage that will probably handle most people. But for those power users or people that need to really leverage AI, there may be a cost, of course. And when you resell to child accounts, all of this is structured so that all that cost will be on the child account. Everything will be clean. You will be able to mark that up. So we're thinking about that all the time. In fact, Reseller and Reseller Pro are a huge part of the business model. So don't worry about that. If you're a reseller, in fact, think of it as an advantage, because you will be able to market that as part of your offerings and build around that, promote around that, etc. And AI for Reseller Pro, just as you would think, you can include AI into your packages, your add-ons, your bumps, the things that you're offering to your end users who you're trying to make into clients. And then your people that are buying from you can choose. So everything is integrated. You can accept payments instantly and onboard, and then everything is delivered. You can create your own margins. Your offer structure is 100% yours. So this is just another tool in your toolbox as a reseller that you can profit from, that you can advertise, that you can market, and say it's not just a all-in-one platform full of these business tools, but now it's powered by AI and it's just going to get better. Yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, SuiteAi. Yep. Okay, so that presentation does as good a job as I can do in approximately 30 minutes, which is what I was shooting for, trying to just give you the high level understanding about how this will integrate, how SuiteDash is really a perfect vehicle for adding something like this. And then we can just help you facilitate, trigger, and take even more things that are maybe manual work, what used to maybe be a human interaction point, as we said, and maybe now you can actually have an AI evaluate and keep the automation slide moving, keep someone moving. Yeah. And in the end, I think everyone here probably realizes that the future, this is the future. Like it or not, this is our future until the robot overlords decide we are not useful to them anymore. And of course, we all know that's where it will end. But until then, let's just make the best of the situation and try to do our business, right? But I think you understand that if you're not going to be on this train or at least an automation, if you're not getting into automation, if you're not getting into streamlining, if you're not getting into this kind of thing, you're going to be left behind. Because not only are the businesses changing and becoming more competitive and more cutthroat because of these kind of things, but also the customer is becoming impatient with anything that does not have to do, that does not try to build this kind of relationship. So the customer wants to, the new customer, the Gen Z customer, they don't want to talk to you. Okay. They do not want to talk to you. They want to do it on their phone. They want to fill out a form. They want to chat with an AI. They want to have everything just roll over. Okay, cool. That's done. Okay, cool. That's done. That's what they want. So it's not just about you adapting because it's better for you. It's almost going to be a survival technique, really, into the future. And things are going to change so fast that it's just impossible to predict where it will go. But what we're committed to is to get deep into AI in this way. And really, it's a pivot point in some ways for the software, because we can build so much intelligence into the platform that it can really change how it works. Reporting is a great example, right? So instead of building, which we have a reporting tool that's near completion, but we don't have to necessarily build reports for every single little small aspect of the data if we can surface the data, because now AI can take care of that. Yes, Stacy, everything's mobile responsive. That's not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Okay, so let's do this. I want to take questions. This is the Q&A, but for the first 10 minutes, let's make it AI only. And then I'm happy for about 20 minutes after that to talk about Reseller Pro, to talk about any of the other things. I'm excited to talk about Reseller Pro, so I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to answer all your questions as much as I can, but just spend some time with you guys because I haven't been able to do that much lately, and I enjoy it. So let's start. All right. I see. Are we going to be able to use all the LLMs? All the LLMs is a wide question. We definitely do want to make it so that you would be able to have a choice. Initially, we plan to use Gemini for the content based, and we're using ChatGPT's image generation library at first. Okay. Let's see. Let me make sure. Pricing for Reseller Pro. Yes, I'll talk about that soon, Vernon. Can make sure here. Mike, what do you mean about an HTML AI assist? Do you mean sort of writing, like building web pages or building landing pages from HTML? Yeah. Will the business model for AI features be based on subscription levels or usage volume? For example, our developer. Well, of course, usage volume, David. Yes, but put funds on start and charge based on usage from there. Yes. So you guys know about Portal Bank that exists right now in the platform. Portal Bank becomes the sort of the bank, the balance, the tool, the financing tool inside the platform for both retail accounts and resellers. So that's the key there. And yes, there will be a certain amount of usage. There will be overages. But please be assured that everything we're doing our very best to hold the pricing into a place where you wouldn't have much luck getting it any cheaper anywhere else. That's the line that I'm looking to push. We want to get paid for our software innovation, the software that we write. We're not trying to get paid by upcharging you for things that you could get somewhere else cheaper. Our business, our business. These things that are ancillary, they're not for us to profit on, in my mind. That's right. Bring your own key. Possibly Blake. That is something that we are looking at, but it limits the way that we can deliver the experience if we get limited by one sort of LLM. So in some ways, we will be curating these LLMs in a way. This one's good for this one's good for that. That's in the future. It's hard for me to answer with absolute clarity, though. Okay, so have you looked at Abacus AI? I've looked at yes, I have looked at Abacus AI, but again, there's a new one every week that's supposed to be the best thing ever, and it gets a little exhausting, right? Sheila, we call this SuiteAi, right? That's just a terminology to represent the AI ambitions and the AI toolkits inside SuiteDash. All right, let's see. Makes sense. You're making good, great. Let's roll out some of this. Yes, I understand that, Mike. And there are a lot of tools out there now that allow you to use all the LLMs, but that's just what all they're doing is that's just an API framework where they just pass everything to another LLM. I'm not saying anything negative about them at all, but what we're focused on here is the usability. If you wanted to use all the LLMs and go do all that, I think that's Abacus AI might be a good use case. What we're trying to do here is merge AI in an intelligent way into business tools that exist already that are capable of taking action and streamlining your experience of both your staff, your collaboration, and the experience with your clients. So we're not going to become, I can tell you this, we're not trying to become some new AI company that's doing some new thing with AI. We are SuiteDash. We are a platform of business tools designed to help you in a way that is sustainable, build an organization, build your systems and processes, build a business, your whole organization, and everything works inside one platform. And then AI will just be an extra layer of grease, for lack of a better word, an extra way to speed those things up, to streamline those things even further. And the goal would be to keep you from needing to have sort of that external AI resource where you have to generate, copy and paste, and move things around. And then if you wanted to have, quote, agents working, then you'd have to connect those agents and keep them all connected. So it's can you do all this same stuff with some wide spectrum of zaps and innate ends and all those other things? Heck yeah, you could do it, sure. But do you want to figure that out? I know that some of us and some of you are into that stuff, and it's really cool, and you want to do it. That's what you want to do. But then there's about 80% of the world that are also here that they want to hang out with their kids, or they want to go do other things, and they want to run their business. They don't want to stay on the bleeding edge of AI and experiment with a million things. That just don't have time for it. And our goal has always been to bring enterprise level technology, enterprise level automation, enterprise level tools to every small and medium business in the world, in any language, in any payment gateway. Is that's where we're heading. So that's what the idea is. All right, let's see. Can we have an AI assistant avatar? Interesting. So you want maybe the paperclip that walks on to the screen and answers your questions, that kind of thing? Or you just mean like an image, Kathy? Yeah, try using tools. Yeah. Thanks, Jock. Yeah, I think so as well. You want people to know it's not you. Yep. So Kathy, we do have this term SuiteAi, but just like with everything else in our platform, you will be able to translate it, aka rename it, change it, represent it in some other way. If you want to come up with a clever term for it, or however you want to do that, that will be something that we'll make sure is possible for you. I think that's what you're trying to say, right? Okay, good. How can these tools be used in massage practice? I would say these tools specifically, it's tough to say. I don't think I have an exact answer for that, but you would be the best to know there, Tadam. But for sure, gently. Yes, wingman mode for sure, wingman mode. But for appointment scheduling is a good first start, and then you can move them into some. If you have a release form, you can definitely get that automated. All these things you could probably do everything you need without AI. But if you wanted to use AI in some of the messaging back, you could use that sort of data processing custom field and get a more friendly human type response to certain emails that you send back. Be more contextual. Esteban says, thanks, Mike. We use SuiteDash in Ecuador and it's so useful. Maybe you can turn the Spanish subtitles on YouTube because a lot of my coworkers don't speak English. Yeah, thank you, Caitlin. We're going to put that on the list. I did notice that it's been a few months that since they enabled those kind of things, which is pretty cool. We need to make sure that we're on the edge of that. It's for customers like yourself. Thank you. Okay. Well, Blake, there's already functionality to reach out about late invoices. Late fees is something that is coming fairly soon. It's in the pipeline right now. I definitely want to be clear here that AI is not going to replace all the functionality that's in there. We're doing our best to integrate it in a way that makes a lot of sense and really streamlines some of the things that can be done. Content generation, responses, replies, shortcutting your clients and your staff as far as accessing knowledge or understanding something that is in your business. They can just ask a silo specialist, that chat and say, what's going on there? It happens really fast. Okay, let's see. Some of these things I'm looking at and reading and thinking, yes, these are things that we're making notes on. So I will definitely absorb all of this and understand. Let's see, back to main chat. Okay. All right. As we continue here, let's continue. But now let's open up the questions to just about anything you want. Okay. There he is. Mitchell's been waiting. Mitchell had the copy and paste ready. All right. So non-AI questions. Here we go. Coupon codes for checkout forms. Don't have a timeline yet, Mitchell. Push notification, no timeline. These are things that are no timeline for that yet. Multi-attendees, but that's something that we are definitely planning on. World's Power Up is currently in development. I can't give you a timeline. And surveys and quizzes currently in development. So yes, as far as timeline, I can't say a timeline. I can say that once we have features that enter development at the level that those two, number 4 and number 5 are, we're not quitting. We're definitely going to finish. So we have thousands and tens of thousands of dollars invested in all of this. So it's coming out for sure. It's just a matter of we have to do it by our process. We have to get there. We have to make sure it all is working properly. When you have a software platform at the level of maturity that we are, you have even more difficulties in that everything has to make sense with what you already have out there. So it sometimes can cause that you have to take very careful steps, which is where we are. And that's what we do. Surcharges for Stripe on invoices. We have, Marie, we don't do the surcharge, but we do have the discount for cash. There are still places where there are laws against the surcharge for credit cards. So instead of going in that direction, we added the ability for you to offer discounts for payment types like cash, check, trading for chickens, etc. Zero integration, Marius, we do not have a timeline on that. Reseller Pro is, I would say, 92.5% complete, Eric. We are really, really close there. We're now just kind of putting everything together and finishing the entire workflow. For you guys that are not familiar with Reseller Pro, let me spend a minute describing what it is. Reseller Pro will give you the ability to sell your own software in no uncertain terms. That's about as clear as it can be. You will be able to take SuiteDash. You will be able to white label it in any way that you want with your own brand, your own logo, whatever you'd like. And you will be able to offer it on a public page, like landing page or website. You will be able to configure your own offers, meaning you might want to package together Pinnacle and 2 power-ups and then give it a completely different name than we call it. Doesn't matter. And you can put whatever price you want on it. And then when your end customer who visits that site clicks, they decide to take that package A or package B or whatever you have. There's a price tag on it. They pay instantly. The subscription is set up. They receive an email instantly, not from us, from you, from your product, your company, all white label. They onboard, they become your customer. You pay us a wholesale fee. They pay you a retail, whatever you decide, and the profit is the difference. You can take that product and you can market it. You can go out and sell it. You can build entire business around it, specialize in a niche. That's typically what most people will do, is they will specialize in a niche. They will pick some niche like accounting or something similar, and they will build a lot of content around that. Well, Jacques, the difference is a normal reseller, you can't it doesn't happen automatically. You have to manually create that account. You have to manually provision that account. You have to manually send. It's the regular reseller, as you normal reseller, is really designed to be used by someone who is like a web developer or advertising agency or something like that, who is already working with a client, and they set them up in the platform. They help them white label it, etc. The tech support's got to come from your side there, Tatum, to that's the only way it works, to keep the white label, to keep your software. So that can be done through support tickets, and it can be done. There's ways to do that, but no, you can't rely on our SuiteDash team to provide support for you in that case. What we are doing is, and we have done and been doing since the beginning, is doing our best to provide very detailed onboard documentation, onboard help text, onboard directions. Everything is there in a white label way, so that when you present your reseller platform to your end clients, they have that advantage of reading about everything that they're in context, in the place that they are, how things work, how they're supposed to work, etc. Yeah, Craig, it's a good idea, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I appreciate, but I definitely like that idea. We're gonna stay focused on the tools we have now. We're gonna level those up. We have a few more things that we want to add, but in general, we're fairly built out for the tools that we will be. Yes, Jerome, that's part of it. The lifesaver icon is there, in addition to tooltips, which will be much more prevalent as we go forward. Okay, let's see. Stacy, not sure, can't answer that one. Don't really know at this point. I don't think so, but I understand why you're asking. Mandy, we do have a landing page builder. I'm not sure is there any plan for an HTML landing page builder? You can build a landing page right now. And if you want to do it just with HTML, you can do that. You just go into the HTML. Sifu, right now, Reseller Pro is $799 a year. The normal reseller program has no cost whatsoever. Reseller Pro is much different in the sense that you can build a business, and you can put in a autopilot business out there that is essentially SuiteDash with your brand on top of it. Why do we charge $799? It's not for profit. It's to make sure that anyone that's going to go down that road is serious. That's basically the reason. Any plans, timeline, document sync storage like Dropbox? That's something I'm really focused on, Richard. I know that's a missing piece. You definitely acknowledge that. It's something that if I had to, I could probably line up 20 things that are really important. Yeah. But one of the difficult parts about my job and our job in general is to try to just put our finger on the next most important thing and do the best we can and continue to build our resources and build the team so that we can do more of those things at any one time and accelerate the momentum over time. So I do not discount what you're asking for as far as an installable file management that syncs to the cloud. That's definitely something that's important. There is no limit. We hope you sell 1 million of them. How many reseller clients are allowed? Let's start with 1 million. When you get there, we'll talk about the next million, okay? We're fans. We're big fans of you. Yeah. BJ, I think that hope I'm saying that right. Is it included Sweet Dreams? Sweet Dreams has access to all power-ups and all future power-ups. Yes. But not service subscriptions. So just remember that, BJ, because anything that's a service subscription is a cost that continues and that can build to levels that are not sustainable for us to offer them to you for free. So again, we do our best to pass those to you in a way that is as affordable as we can possibly do it. I hope that answers that. Any SuiteDash customization experts? Yes. Our agency partners are 100% where you need to be, Don. You can go on. Thank you, Don. If you'll just post a link, that'd be good. Don is also an agency partner. Thank you, BJ. Thank you. Thank you for the link. Good. Awesome. I can't say enough about our agency partners. You guys, if you understand this, right? So SuiteDash is not a simple piece of machinery that you can just start with today and have configured in 5 minutes. Nor should it be, honestly. It's just not that way. As neither are something like Salesforce or HubSpot or Airtable. These are other types of software that can be built out into a very large structured organization that can build on itself, et cetera, et cetera. So as an example, something like HubSpot or Salesforce, they require you to pay for a training fee or for someone to be I'm not talking about a small amount of money, $5,000-$10,000 a year. They require it for you to use the software. Why? Because they know that you need help. Yeah. So not everyone needs the help. Not everyone needs it. Some of you guys are very savvy and you can do it. But for those of you who don't have time or something like that, I would highly recommend our agency partners, because what you might consider expensive at, say, $100 an hour, I'll just say. I don't think it's that much, but every one of them gets to set their own rates. But even if it was $100 an hour, they can tell you more in 2 hours or 3 hours or 6 hours and get you off the mark about 100 times faster than you could maybe trying to learn it yourself. And from there, you can take over and you can go. But to get yourself out of the darkness, if you feel that way, $100 an hour or something like that is a small price to pay, and completely normal, as I've said, for these powerful software suites, these software platforms that have the capability of literally saving you $100 every day, maybe, in efficiency. So understand this about business, that there are many times where this money that sounds expensive, it's not expensive at all. It's a great way to save money. And there's times when you just must spend the money to achieve an efficiency. And that's the way I look at agency partners, 100%. Yeah. Luis, omni-channel integration, not at the moment. Not at the moment. Not something that we're really focused on. I understand the benefit. I understand the benefit of a lot of these requests. But again, yeah, I have to try to stay focused on the things that we do well, that we can do, that really, really matter. Okay. Let's see. Advanced training, specifically for design and branding. Stacy, I would say we don't have a formal advanced training, but again, I would think about if you have a design or you have something you're trying to accomplish, having an agency partner would be a very good idea. Or just any kind of web builder, someone that can come in and give you a design element or give you, bring that to you and you say, here's what I need to do. And then their experience is to make it happen. So we all don't know how to do everything. And that's why I pay someone to, work on my water pump or whatever it is. I don't know how to do that. I could do it. 100% I could do it. But I might spend all day trying to do it and watch YouTubes and get it figured out. Where this person comes in, they do it in an hour and I pay them their fee and we shake hands and it's fixed. So I know it's not always an option, especially when you're bootstrapping. I get that, but always remember that doing everything yourself is not always a badge of honor. You as a business owner do not need to do everything yourself. That's not what a business owner does. A business owner is a composer, a choreographer. Yes, you will do a lot of the hard work yourself. Yes, you will do a lot of it. You will spend many, many hours doing things that no one else will do, wants to do, can do. But what you should always be looking for is any opportunity where you can pay someone to take work away from you. And every person that you hire should have a definable task that they're going to do that you used to do. And so you hire to free your time so you can go to the next level. They call it delegate and elevate. Okay. So always be thinking in that way as a as a business owner. Your job is not to be an employee. Your job is to be an owner, to script, to design, to build, right? That's what SuiteDash is designed for you. It's a gift to you. It's a set of tools that you can spend and build this process. Yes, it takes hard work. Yes, it takes thinking. It takes this, you gotta draw it on a napkin or a piece of paper or whatever. But this is what business is. And if you read business books at all, you're gonna run into this concept in almost every book that's ever been written since E-Myth 30, 40 years ago. It's just exactly, Spencer. You have to, otherwise it can't scale. Let's just put it in the simplest possible terms. You cannot scale a business that takes 40 hours a week out of your time. Why? Because you can't work 80 hours. That's it. Can you 2x that business? No, you can't do it because you can't work 80 hours. I don't care who you are. So you have to be building processes that can be replicated and try to minimize the number of people, the number of seats that are in your organization. And when you get the seats figured out, then you build processes around each seat. You build things like knowledge bases around each seat. You build a staff dashboard around that seat that helps them, has every click they need is right there. Every piece of information is right there, right? And if that person gets hit by a bus, is the old analogy, or moves to the mountains and decides to live in a yurt or whatever it is, then you can replace that person. They're not indispensable. You can put another person in that seat, show them the dashboard, show them the training, and about 3-4 days later is your hope, maybe 2-3 weeks max, that person should be able to do the job just as well as the person who left. And if you're not in that situation, you're in a precarious situation because you could be out of business in any moment. So anyway, that's the business owner's job, is to be that person who's always looking around saying, where's the friction? Where can I get it out? Where's the indispensable person who can bring me down if they get hit by a bus? Let's fix that. Let's fix this. Let's fix that. And SuiteDash is designed to be that toolkit of tools that will give you everything you need to build all of those things, from the staff dashboard to the knowledge bases, to the onboarding processes, to all the processes that can lead you to that freedom and that ability to scale. And think about when you sell your business, the last thing I'll say, and now I'm going to take another couple of questions. Think about your business. If you build, say, a business that does, say, I don't know, say $1 million a year, right? That's great. Let's say you're doing all the work. You're doing everything. You're literally just doing everything manually. It's $1 million a year. You work so hard to build it. And now you want to sell it. No one wants to buy that. I'm sorry, but it's a tough one, man. Maybe they do, but they have to know everything that you know, do all the work that you're doing. And compare that to if you sit them down and show them an entire, okay, here's where I log in, and here's all of the tools that are built. Here's how they work. Here's the onboarding. Then it automatically passes to here. Then it automatically passes to there. Then I come in and do this. Then it does that and does this. And this already built. It's already working. Everything is set. And then you're not just selling them a business, you're selling them the keys to a structure, to a framework, to a process, to everything that is there. And they look at it and go, well, I could do that. Sure. And now you have something you can sell. Your business will be worth 2x easy, and it'll be a better business. Okay, a few more questions. Yeah, good, Kathy. That's true. Hey, Stacy, I've hired a lot of designers and they suck too. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's if you find, but they're not all that way. Eventually, you'll find someone. You'll find a way to get what you're after, and it's part of the experience. It's part of the. It's like the joy of home ownership, if you know about that. It's so fun sometimes, right? Okay, where I can compare pro and regular. Roberto, we don't have a full build out of this information about Reseller Pro yet. It's still something that's been described in in promotional emails and things like that, but it is on a list. It is being worked on, where soon you'll be able to look at and say, okay, here's Reseller, here's Reseller Pro. Is this the direction I want to go? And then you'll be able to sign up for it right away there. Okay. But yes, that's on the way. I will. We'll let you know. You make sure that you're receiving emails from us. If you received email about this webinar, then you're in good shape. You'll receive email about Reseller Pro. Yep. It's really like after this is complete and we start where we roll out the first parts of the SuiteAi starting next week, Of course, with all that will continue to work, but the next big launch, the next big thing is Reseller Pro finalization, and then we'll move on to the next big thing. So step by step. Okay, everyone, I want to thank you all for coming to this webinar. It was a good time. This is very exciting. It's a really exciting place to be sitting with a platform that does all the things that it does, that has the potential that we have, and now to begin writing in AI. It's just like anything else. Until we went around the first corner, second corner, the third corner, we couldn't quite see, I couldn't quite see the potential. But after the first 2 or 3 corners, suddenly the entire valley opened up in front of me. And now, I really can see all the way to this final, this sort of ultimate step of this analyst AI, where it basically knows everything about your business and it becomes an assistant to you as a business owner. And these kind of things are definitely coming. Eric, just to answer your question, Reseller Pro will be a space for initial super admin. Mike is correct. You actually, Eric, will be the super admin, and you can enter that account at any time. You can impersonate any user inside that account. They will have, I understand the driver of the account is going to be your customer, and they will be what we are calling an account manager. So that will be the person who buys from you. They will have keys that are exactly functionally the same as a super admin. Yes, and they can do all the white labeling. They will be able to function as a super admin, and in fact, they will think they are the quote super admin, but they actually are not. That's just semantics. But in the end, you are still in control at all times. You have the ability to be basically the software owner. You have that ability to impersonate and to ability to do everything that you need to do. Yes, understand, Eric. The only difference between a super admin and an admin with all, in fact, we just released this today. In fact, if you want to see something new, it was just released this morning, go to the platform and create a new admin. And you'll see that you can create what's called an admin manager. And now for all the admins, for every admin in your account, you can use granular selections to decide what they will need, what they can do, and what they cannot see, what they cannot do. And this is incredible in the sense that it really makes it so that admins become much more functional, in the sense that you're not giving away everything. So now you can have an admin and give him everything, Eric, and that will have everything. They will be able to do everything that super admin can do, except for the billing side, which we will almost always, I can't imagine a scenario where we expand that further than one user. Best practices, that's always one user. Yeah, it's got to be. Otherwise, this person cancels the account because they're upset about this or that. And yeah, no, that's not going to work. I understand it. Spencer, just choose admin and then look as the second, I think it's the second section there, where you can now choose to make that admin manager. And then from there, you have the ability to make all your selections, right? And you can now edit any existing admin and go through and control what they see. So this permission structure will be pervasive all the way through to the Reseller Pro level, where you'll be able to predefine what an account manager will be able to see when they're created. Kind of tough to this structure and this framework is kind of tough to just talk about on the fly here without, like, you almost need diagrams to be able to even have the discussion about Reseller Pro. It's kind of mind-bending, but it's pretty awesome that you guys will have this availability. Abu, archiving a deal. Yeah, that's something. Well, I'll put that on my list that I have right here. That's not too difficult. You just want to keep it out of your space, but always have it for down the road. Not difficult. Okay. All right. Any other questions before I jump, David? They don't really connect the things you're saying. I mean, it may be, but a visual workflow builder. I understand what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we have thought about. There's a lot of libraries out there that allow for this visual workflow builder thing. They fall down on mobile. So that's kind of one of the hesitations. Literally none of them work well in mobile. So it kind of breaks one of our core tenets, which is everything has to be mobile friendly. So that's usually where the conversation starts to slow down. But yes, I understand what you mean. You want to see how things connect. Yes. I get it. One strategy, David, that I know some people have used is the auto template strategy, where they essentially create an auto template for every automation set that they make. And then in the automation locally, where they're in the opportunity, what we call an opportunity, they just choose the auto template. And we have a task in our pipeline now that will allow for some lock sync of those things to help facilitate that strategy, which is, I won't go to the point of explaining now, but anyway, that is a strategy that you can think of. And that what the advantage is, it gives you a choke point for all of your automations in one place. And you just go and edit the auto template. And anywhere that template is used, those automations are changed and modified. So you don't have to chase a bunch of them around. Nope, no sneak peeks, I'll do. No. Once you go down that road, you can get pretty wrapped up, spend a lot of time. But great, Bernadette. Good. Keep your eyes open next week. You might see some things released next week or two, and we will continue to work. That's what we do all day. Thank you to the team. I'll say it out loud now. They're amazing. Thank you to our agency partners. Thank you to all of our coaches, our LSS, our live support system hosts. You guys are out there you're doing God's work, as they say. I know you guys are almost boots on the ground for us, and we really appreciate all the work that you do to help the community. And thank you to all you guys that are active in the community, helping, answering questions. We are accelerating. We're moving in a good way, and it's an exciting world. So let's see if we can just kind of build businesses together and make you guys a lot of money. That's really the end. Let's make you guys a lot of money. That's what we want to do. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, as always. All right. Thank you. Thank you, John. Thanks, Eugene. Thank you, David. Reed, Sharifa, John. Thank you, Jock. Latrice. Thanks, Mitchell. Thanks, Eric. All right, guys. Now, let's go make all this a reality. Yes, it's coming soon. Bye. Bye, everyone. See ya. Bye.